Sentence correction is a pain for most of the students who are preparing for GMAT. In this video, I'll discuss 4 steps that you can follow to get 80% plus accuracy in sentence correction questions. Hi, my name is Mandeep. I'm a GMAT coach and founder of GMAT Mantra. The first step you have to follow or do is to memorize the concepts. Now, maximum students have this habit of reading the concepts. So when they read the concepts and then they go and solve the questions. While solving, they struggle to solve the question because they don't remember the theory. When you don't remember the theory, you will not be able to recognize the errors in that particular question. So you're not able to solve the question, or you get the question wrong. You start doubting yourself. You go back, revise the theory, come back. Again, you start solving it, but again, you don't remember the errors. So maximum students waste a lot of time in this vicious circle. What is the vicious circle? You are just reading, going to solve the questions. You're not able to recognize the errors. You're getting the questions wrong and again revising it. So if you want to get out of this vicious circle, the first step is to memorize the concepts. So when I say memorize the concepts, it's like that you should be in the position to teach the concepts to someone. It's more like giving a presentation in the office. So if you're working, I'm sure these days most of the people give presentations. So when you prepare for the presentation, do you read it or you memorize it? And do you do all the research possible? And if you have any doubts in your mind, you Google it. Because when you give the presentation, you don't say, okay, I'll see what happens. Because at that time, you don't have a choice. Because people are sitting in front of you and you will be judged. And maybe your promotion is dependent on that particular particular presentation. So you work hard on that particular presentation. And sometimes, you just have a day to prepare for that presentation, but you are all in because you understand the importance of that presentation. But when you prepare for GMAT, or maybe when you're memorizing the concepts, we tell them, okay, I have a lot of time, let me just revise it. Because when you memorize require effort. But if you memorize things, overall it will take less time. Because maximum students waste months in just that vicious circle of revising and solving questions, getting them wrong and again revising. But if you just give a week's time, and in that week you just memorize the concepts, and you're in this position to teach it to someone, probably when you do that and you go and solve the questions, this time you will be able to get questions right, because now you remember all the concepts. So when you solve the questions, you will be able to recognize the errors, and when you are able to recognize the errors and you know the theory how to solve it, you will start getting the questions questions correct. And when you get the questions correct, automatically your confidence level increases. And when you have the high confidence, you come back and you want to do more of it. But when you're not getting the questions right, then you start resisting it. So if you want to have consistency in your GMAT preparation or in your sentence correction section, focus on memorizing the concepts. That's number 1. Number 2, focus on mastering the right approach. So maximum students, they have this mindset, okay, let me just do 100 questions, and they're just focused on getting the answer. They're not bothered how they reach the answer, but they just are interested in getting the answer. So if you just focus on getting this answer somehow, probably what happens, you're not developing any specific approach to solve the questions. And when there is a time pressure, and you don't know, you don't have a consistency, you don't have a habit of solving it a certain way, you will get confused, and this causes anxiety. You would have heard many of the students who give GMAT, they said, oh, I freezed during the exam. Why do you freeze? What is the reason of freezing? Number 1 is your competency. Competency is your knowledge or maybe the habit. You never develop the habit, so you're bound to freeze. So there's nothing wrong in that. So if you want, you don't want to freeze in the exam, at least improve your competency in solving the questions. So when you solve the questions, always focus on solving it with the right approach. You should have a habit of solving the specific type of question a certain way. And there is the approach for sentence correction. So when you solve the question, focus on mastering the approach. Don't just focus on solving the questions. So number one, memorize the concepts. Second is always focus on mastering the approach. Number three, don't create error logs. Maximum students who approach me, because they are the people who are retakers, because I'm a retaker specialist. So maximum students who approach me, they have already given GMAT once, twice, yes. Sometimes they have given 5 times, and they have been preparing for GMAT for last 3 years. So when I talk to them, they say, sir, I have this error log that I have maintained in last 3 years. And then I asked them, have you ever read that error log? They said no. So why are you creating? You're wasting time in creating error logs. So stop wasting time. The best way to handle or improve it, always focus on one day at a time. So let's say you practiced 10 questions today and you got 4 questions wrong. Sit with those 4 questions and ask yourself, why did you get those questions wrong? 1, it could be knowledge. Second, it could be approach. So if it's knowledge, go back to those specific topics and revise them. And if it's approach, go back and just solve more questions with the right approach. So if you do that for that specific day, that means you have improved. Because let's say you're struggling with tenses and you identified that, okay, I got all the questions which are based on tenses. So you go back and you memorize tenses and you come back and solve more questions on tenses. That means for that particular day, you have worked on tenses and you have improved in tenses. So if you improved in tenses, that means you have grown overall. What if you just make a note, okay, I got 4 questions wrong and I got these questions were based on tenses. What should I do with that information? Nothing. You're wasting time. So stop doing that. Okay, stop making this, there are most of the students who are, consultants. The best part is they're very good with Excel and they have maintained Excel sheets with different colors, beautiful Excel sheets, but never use them. What will you do? So stop making this error logs, focus on one day at a time, focus on one topic at a time. Okay. And last, whenever you get any question wrong, okay, never doubt your knowledge, because what happens when we get some questions wrong, you have to find some culprit. Why did you get the question wrong? So what maximum students do is they just focus on their theory. Oh, my theory is wrong, weak, that's why I got the question wrong. But in 99% cases, you get question wrong because of wrong approach, not the knowledge. So stop blaming the wrong reasons for getting the questions wrong. So whenever you get the question wrong, always doubt your approach, because knowledge is not the reason in maximum cases. Because if you're practicing, that means you have already been through, you're done with the theory part. But because revising theory is easy, because when you get questions wrong, you get anxiety and you have to do something. So in that, you go back and revise the theory. Though you get temporary relief, but it will not increase your accuracy or it will not increase your confidence. So when you get the question wrong, don't revise the theory. Okay, go back and focus on your approach, because that will be the major reason to get the question wrong. So try these 4 things and see if you see improvement in your sentence correction section. Thank you.